So today's Thanksgiving at the time of this recording. Of course, you're going to get this several days after I make the video. I've already made my Thanksgiving video. Today is very cold and very windy. Oh man, I'm trying to actually get the mic into the wind so you can hear it. Maybe you can see the wind blowing. It's coming from the north. That's the north there. Whew. It's chilly. So I'm not going to do much today because it is Thanksgiving and because it's so cold and windy. There's no reason for me to get out in this stuff. Today is the day I fill the water. Since it's gotten colder, I've been doing the water every 2 days. That way I don't lose all the heat out of my box here. But since it's going to get below freezing tonight, I want to keep it closed up. I guess for the rest of the week, it's going to stay above freezing, so I'll fill it up tomorrow. So I don't have to do anything today. I'm just going to kind of enjoy the off-grid and a beautiful sunny day. Of course, it's cold, but I'm going to stay inside. Now, this is what's interesting. Last night, I started the fire at 10 o'clock, the wood stove, and I need to close the screen door here. And so here it is now, probably 9 o'clock, maybe even 10 o'clock in the morning. I didn't check before I started my video. I should have. The house is 72 degrees. So it stayed very warm all night. And then in the morning, I suspected I was gonna have to start it this morning, and I didn't. With the wind being so cold and hard, blowing so hard, I really thought that I was going to start sometime this morning. So I've actually been waiting to run this video because I was hoping to do this in front of a fire. Well, no fire. The temperature is actually starting to go back up in the house. Now, the temperature outside is not going to get any hotter than 40 degrees, and this wind, you would think, would just blow right in. When I built it, I did spend an enormous amount of time trying to seal up all the cracks with silicone, or caulk actually, and we got very thick insulation. A lot of people criticize me because I used 2x6s in the walls. Didn't need to use 2x6s, use 2x4s to be cheaper. And with wood prices being so high when I built the house, I understood what they were telling me, but I really wanted to keep the heat in. I didn't realize that the wood stove was really going to be too much for us. I mean, I suppose we could get a smaller wood stove, but this one was so cheap. We're just having to figure out how to use it. So we'll run it, it'll get up to about 90 degrees, and then it starts to cool back down. Like I said, it's 72 degrees in here now, and the temperature's starting to go back up. The tiny house has been one of the best decisions I think I've ever made in my life. It's 12 by 16. I mean, the chicken run is actually bigger than the house. Our pig pen that we're gonna have is going to be bigger than our house. I don't know. I'm not sure why Carolyn likes the little house. I don't know, but I was on a submarine. It's kind of in my personality to be in enclosed spaces. I don't need a huge space. Easy to clean. We've used such little firewood this winter. So we've used a stack this big. Now, of course, this stack went up to here. So we've already used a stack this big and this. That's it. So we started in early October, starting in the wood stove. And here it is, almost December. It's Thanksgiving now. And that's all we've used. It's incredible. I light it about 2 times a day on a cold day. Now, like I said, today it looks like I'm not going to have to light it until this evening. Now, what's really nice is I don't even have to light it in the middle of the night. Now that I'm following all the instructions and the firewood is dry, I don't have to use hardly any firewood. Now, I want you to understand something. Here, when we talk about firewood, I have what I'm considering 15 cords of firewood. It might be 11 measurements and different things. I could be off a little bit. Let's call it 15 years. That's what I thought. 1 cord a year is what I'd use. But it really looks like I'm going to end up using about half a cord a year. So that's 30 years of firewood. Over the last 2 years, we've cut enough firewood to last us 30 years. I don't have to cut any more firewood ever. That is absolutely incredible. Now, let's look at what I have put in here. This is what I'm going to run. This is kindling, basically. I've got 3 pieces of kindling sitting on top. Pieces that are just a little bit bigger than kindling on the second row. And then I have full-size logs, but when I say full-size log, what I'm talking about here is this log cut in half. So what we have here on the bottom is that. This lasts us all day long. It's 12 hours is what we're seeing. However, like I said, now the sun is coming up. We're not even going to have to start it. So a pile of wood this big last night is going to last us 24 hours. So I made a video a while back talking about the wood stove and how it operates, how it's really efficient, and burns the smoke and everything. If you take a look at that video, I'd really appreciate it. You'll learn about the wood stove. It also tells the algorithm that you like this video, and so they'll promote this video even more. Of course, the wood stove's not doing any work right now. The house is doing all the work. Our body temperature actually heats the house up. When the refrigerator kicks on, heats the house up. When the water heater kicks on, heats the house up. The thing is when we open the windows in the summertime, all that doesn't translate into it being too hot in the house. We didn't run an air conditioner this last summer. It was pretty hot this summer. I got a comment today, and what I'm seeing is people make excuses as to why they do the things they do. There's no science in what they do, and the research they do only confirms what they believe, not necessarily what's true. So I got a comment today, and just Carolyn and I probably talked about this comment for an hour and a half, maybe. I don't know. So that's how mind-boggling these kind of comments, and I get these kind of comments all the time. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't match reality. It doesn't match science. He says, I have found that if I don't split firewood, the fire lasts longer. Well, that doesn't make any sense to me. Explain to me how that works. Firewood only has so much energy. It doesn't matter if it's split or not split. Carolyn said, well, she read something last year. Well, split firewood has more surface area. No, it doesn't. If you measure, I did in my past, I was a metrologist is what they called me, science of measure. If you split it, it actually has less surface area now than it does unsplit. So it doesn't make any sense. There was no logic to anything that she was telling me in this article or what this guy was saying. What he has is my guess, is a huge house, and he heats with firewood, and he either doesn't want to split the firewood or can't split the firewood or whatever. So he's made excuses as to why he doesn't split it. He's wrapped his head around this. And of course, you can find information out there that confirms what you believe. But this oak firewood right here, I don't know, maybe that's not oak. Let's actually use a piece of oak. This oak firewood right here only has so many BTUs. Split, unsplit. That size of firewood, that's all it's got. And there's actually science to this. 1 cord of firewood equals 30 million BTUs. That doesn't mean that if you split it, it's less BTUs, or if it's not split, it's more BTUs. That's what it is. Science says so. So everything else is just folklore. So when you're looking at your research, you have to understand, what are you looking at? Are you looking at science, or are you looking at a blog, folklore? And I guess a lot of people are looking for information that confirms what they believe, instead of trying to understand why this new wood stove is so much more efficient than older wood stoves. I get that a lot. Well, you just put wet firewood on it and it runs forever. Well, you're also losing 30% efficiency when you put wet firewood in there, because you got to burn that water. Water puts out fire. So when you dry your firewood, obviously it's going to burn more efficiently, less smoke. You're not going to get as much creosote in your chimney. You're not going to get chimney fires near as bad. One of the things I always get razzed about is my truck. My truck's a 4-cylinder, 2015 Chevy Colorado. Now, the thing is, what's interesting about it is I had a Chevy S10 back in the 90s. It was a 4-cylinder. It was a 6-cylinder, excuse me. This one, 4-cylinder, has more power than that old 6-cylinder, so they've gotten much more efficient. But regardless, it's a 4-cylinder, and it's 2-wheel drive. Oh my gosh, Rob, you need an F500,000 Ford pickup truck 4-wheel drive so you can go over a mountain. Okay, I'm not really sure why, but okay, let's hear your story. Well, because, oh gosh, have you heard about the gas prices? I can't hardly fill my truck up anymore. $100 and I get 5 gallons, whatever. Wait a minute, I thought the F5000, Ford 4-wheel drive going over mountains was the thing to have. I haven't filled my truck up in probably a month. It's been a long time. I have had an 8-cylinder, big monster truck or a diesel truck. Prices, when they go up, you're like, okay, I can't afford to drive anymore. I'm able to do everything I need to do with my truck. Well, when it snows, Rob, you're not going to be able to get out of the driveway. I'm not going to drive anyways. The biggest problem with 4-wheel drives is, yeah, they might get you out of the ditch, but it's not going to prevent you from going in the ditch. You're not going to stop any better in a 4-wheel drive than you are in a 2-wheel drive. So I'm just going to stay home when it snows. whether I have a four-wheel drive or two-wheel drive. My truck is much less expensive. I was able to spend probably about half of what a normal full-size truck costs. So I don't understand the logic that you got to have the biggest things and then make excuses as to why you can't afford to drive it. It's not manly as what I think. It's folks want to be manly. Men, I should say. Well, I don't need to be manly. I've never felt like I have to be big macho man. I'm very comfortable being able to have a small house, a small car. I think people try to show off too much, and then they can't afford it, and then they can't figure out how to afford it, and then so they cry poor. Well, I am poor. I am below poverty level, well aware of it, and I'm quite proud of it. I don't make a lot of money, but I've never been so rich. Carolyn was talking earlier about research in the chickens, and she only researched what confirmed her beliefs. Was she wanted to be able to move the chickens around the yard. So we built a chicken run that we could pick up, move around. Well, it was a pain. The ground's so unlevel out here, and every time we move it, we'd have to rearrange it and put bricks down and try to keep the chickens in and keep the foxes out. And we lost a lot of chickens. So when we decided, oh well, that didn't work, and we put our chicken run in one spot, we locked it down, and we haven't lost a chicken since. So what she did was she researched to confirm her beliefs. Turns out it didn't work. If she'd have done all the research and looked at both sides, the pros and the cons, she would have realized, oh, I don't want to move it around. I'm much happier keeping it in one location. And that's one of the things she talked about this morning when we were talking about this comment. If you could take a look at this video, I'd really appreciate it. This video here on the screen will teach you more about firewood, and it also tells the algorithm that you like this video. So I hope I can inspire you to look at the small things in life so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.